All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Spotlight. My name is Jodi Harris. I am the CEO of Sight and Sound Events, a company here based in Las Vegas where we do weddings and corporate events and all kind of events. And today I am have with me, sitting next to me, this is Heather. Heather works for Sight and Sound Events, and Heather's role here at Sight and Sound is that of event producer, event manager. So, Heather, welcome. Tell everybody just real briefly a little bit about yourself and what you do here at Sight and Sound.
Hi, everybody. My name is Heather, and I am an event producer. I have worked for Jodi on and off over the last few years. Got recruited from the Art Institute as a photographer and just kind of started working in the office. So I do a little bit of everything. I assist Jodi on whatever she needs. I help clients. I create timelines, do design sessions. I do a lot of our social media. So, yeah.
Cool. And that is what exactly we're here to talk about today. We are here to talk about the timeline. So we're going to be bringing you these little nuggets, nothing too long, not a full whole podcast, but little nuggets of things that you guys need to know. So today, Heather and I want to talk about the timeline. So what is a timeline? A timeline is an outline of your event. Whether you're having a corporate event or a wedding, you need a timeline. Heather, you want to jump in real quick?
Sure. Yeah, the timeline basically helps us, the DJ, kind of with the flow of your evening. Like if we're doing a ceremony with you guys, we need to know what time your ceremony is, your ceremony music, the music that's being played while your guests are arriving. And then we also need to know everything for your reception. Now with the timeline, the one thing you do need to know is we put times on there, but they're flexible. Exactly. And we need some flexibility with that because sometimes things go wrong. You know, your shoe might break on your way into your grand entrance and you need to adjust. So.
Or somebody left their shoes in their hotel room
right.
And they don't want to walk in with these shoes on. So, Aunt Marianne went upstairs to go get her shoes and we're like, what? But we're going to talk about that too. We're going to show you an example of a timeline. Also, I want to let you guys and girls know that the timeline is super important, not only for us, but as your venue. Mm-hmm. Your venue needs to see a timeline. Don't let any of your vendors tell you, well, we don't do timelines. If they don't do timelines, you need to run the other way, folks, because you got to have a timeline. Your venue doesn't care what your songs are. They really don't. Do they look at them? Yeah, they do. But they don't care. For them, they want to know what time is, if this is a wedding, they want to know, is there a toast? And right. Is the toast happening before dinner or after dinner? Because the reason why they need to know is if they have to pour champagne, they need to have that prepped ahead of time. They also need to know when, the dinner is going to be served. Is it first dance into dinner? Is it grand entrance, dinner? Like, they just need to know that. So the most important things your venue needs to know is when you're going to do a toast, when they're going to serve dinner, when you're going to cut a cake, right? Exactly. And jump in whenever you want, jump in, cake. And believe it or not, I don't know why they asked this, Heather, but when is the event over? And I don't know why they would ask that because they have it on the BEO.
Right. And that's something that we work off of too, is the BEO. If they're a good vendor, they create one for us and they kind of tell you as a couple, for example, for a wedding, what time they think dinner should be, what time your toast should be. That way we can work with that BEO too. However, if they don't have one, like Jodi said, you should probably run because they really should have some kind of a schedule. But if not, we help create that and we work with them too.
And for those of you who don't know what a BEO stands for, it's Banquet Event Order. Mm-hmm. And that is what every venue that you work with, whether you work with a hotel or you work with a caterer, mm-hmm. they need to provide you with a BEO. You need to know on your end, not only do you need to know like maybe the outline of things, but also you need to know what you ordered.
Right.
A BEO...
It'll have everything on there from your food and beverage, like what your catering choices were, even your tablecloths, your chair covers, all those things. It's going to be on your BEO.
Absolutely. All right. So Heather, let's show everybody real quickly what we're talking about. Now, this is an example of a Sight and Sound timeline of a recent wedding that we did. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and we're going to go here and I'm going to hit share. And let's see if it pops up. There it is. Okay, cool. So you can kind of see it. I know it might look a little bit small. And again, forgive me, guys, because this is all new to me, the whole StreamYard thing that I'm doing here. But
Yep. Normally our professional is here to help us.
well, you know, hey.
I mean, you're a professional, but
I'm a professional, but you know, we got this. Exactly. So here we go. So let's kind of talk about this timeline. I'm gonna go up. Heather, you worked on this one with this couple, Nicole and Kyle, and
Yes.
maybe just kind of tell us a little bit about this couple.
Okay, this couple, they were really sweet, really great, but there was a lot of things that they didn't realize that they
Slide
needed.
over closer to me too. So they
There
can
was a
see.
lot of stuff that they didn't realize that they needed. For example, they didn't know that they needed a grand entrance song, which is, it's pretty common with grand entrance. I understand certain things like cake cutting. Not everybody knows you need a cake cutting song. So just going through the music, because when we create the timeline, we're also going over the details of your event. And so for this one, we did a ceremony. So we had 2 different sound systems, and we also had to create a ceremony music list with them, and then talk about cocktail hour and grand entrance and
The timing of it,
and the
really.
timing of it,
Because, you know, here's another thing when we talk about timelines, especially when it comes to a ceremony, everybody thinks that the ceremony timeline starts with when the bride or the
Walks
groom
down.
walks down the aisle. It doesn't. It doesn't. Because how do those guests get to their chairs, right?
Exactly. So you need to have a time set up for your guests, which is why we create a music list for while your guests are arriving, so they have something to listen to. It's not just dead air around them. Granted, they talk, they chat, but that's part of why we add that.
But you're setting the tone
Exactly.
for so here's a big pet peeve of mine, folks. When you're out there hiring a DJ or a band or whatever service it is, sorry, you know, the Sight and Sound phones are really busy today. When you're hiring a band or a DJ for your wedding ceremony, you got to consider when it comes to time, do not start them when whoever walks down the aisle. You got to start it at least 15 minutes to a half an hour before, because us playing music on the timeline is setting the tone. We're setting the tone for the
Exactly.
day. So it starts there. And then, you got to think about, a cocktail hour. Once that ceremony is over, you got a cocktail hour. Is that cocktail? Because you're going to be off taking photos.
And that's another thing a lot of couples don't consider for a wedding, is that they do know they have to take their photos post-ceremony, but they sometimes forget what their guests are going to be doing for 30 minutes to an hour. So sometimes it's a 30-minute cocktail hour, sometimes it's a full hour. And then we, of course, play music again to set the mood before the couple comes in for their grand entrance.
Absolutely. And something really fun that you can do for your cocktail hour guests, and again, this is getting off topic, but maybe you add a magician who could do sleight of hand magic to keep those people entertained during the cocktail hour.
Or a photo booth.
Right, a photo booth, or even better yet, maybe even a caricature artist.
Yep.
Bring in a digital caricature artist, and people have something to do, that they're just not listening to Vintage Vegas. In this situation, as you can see on our timeline, we had a Vintage Vegas, thing. And then this cocktail hour only lasted 45 minutes. So again, when you're doing your timeline, you got to allow for,
Flexibility.
flexibility. And again, nothing is written in stone. It's not the episode. I always tease people, Heather, and say it's not I Love Lucy when Ricky put her on a schedule.
Right.
And remember, her and Ethel had the whiteboard and they were writing down, what time they were going to eat. Like, okay, the
Exactly.
muffins. And then Lucy had the baseball thing. Okay. It's not like that, folks. Again, this is just for structure. You need structure. You need to have this. So again, just like a TV show or a movie has a script.
Exactly.
This is your script. This is how
Exactly.
it works. And again, it's not going to be 100%, but it gives everybody an idea of when things are happening.
Everybody involved, and especially your DJ while he's emceeing,
Yeah.
because then he can see what needs to come next. He knows, hey, everybody, grab your glass. It's time for the toast.
Right.
Hey, everybody, take a seat. It's time for dinner.
Right.
Or, father, daughter, mother, son.
And to make sure that the staff is also knows that it's toast time too, because they're going to come up to you and say, hey, guy or girl, it looks like that you have a toast happening in this situation at 6:05. Glass in hand means there's not going to be champagne poured.
Right.
It's just going to be whatever they're drinking. And sometimes as an MC and a DJ, you're going to have to tell people, just want to let you know, we're 10 minutes away from our toast. Head over to the bar. Make sure you have something to drink. And that's good because the bartender needs to know too, so he doesn't get a rush of people.
Right.
But yeah, you could see how everything kind of just flows on this timeline. Their first dance, their father-daughter, their mother-son, a surprise dance, and your last hour of your wedding should be uninterrupted
Dancing.
fun. I
Yes.
call it the power hour.
Exactly.
The power hour is that last hour that is just no events, no cake, no bouquet, no garter, no money dance, none of that stuff.
Just pure fun.
Pure fun.
Because that's what you're there to do, is celebrate.
Absolutely.
The other thing I'd like to mention with the timelines too is that we did have a different couple recently who tried to micromanage the timeline themselves as far as like exactly what time things needed to happen, because they all had a limited amount of time for a photographer, and so she was trying to cram everything into those 2 hours, and it makes it very difficult when we don't have flexibility too. So once we discussed that with her, she realized, you know what, you're right, we are rushing it, we do have 2 hours, we can actually fit a lot in that 2 hours and then have fun. It was a shorter wedding, so they only had everybody for 3 hours besides the photographer. So they were trying to get as much done as they could for photos, but they ended up being flexible. So that's something else. Like, because we are the professionals and the DJs and the MCs who do these events know how to make everything flow, you have to give us flexibility too. You can't micromanage the time.
You've got to trust, because we're the people that do this every single weekend.
Exactly.
Every weekend we're invited to somebody's wedding, and we have seen the good and the bad and the ugly.
Right.
And you need to listen, because, the whole reason why you hire the people that you hire is that you trust.
Right.
And if without that trust, then you don't have a fun event, because you can't relax. Mm-hmm. The best events, Heather, that we do are the ones where people trust us.
Exactly.
1,000%.
And we do create timelines too for corporate events, but those tend to be a lot smaller in what they're doing, depending on the type of corporate event. But we do create those for our corporate events too.
Yep.
So everybody has a timeline. Everybody has a guide of what's going on.
Awesome. And it looks like we even got a question too, which is really, or a comment. So thank you very much. There he is. Hey, Charles, how you doing? Long time no see. Just wanted to check in. Wish everybody considered me for any. Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thanks for watching in. We appreciate it too.
And Happy New Year to you too.
Yep, Happy New Year. Charles is a videographer that I've known for years. So it's nice that somebody is actually watching our show today, Heather. Yay. Anything else in conclusion in regards to the timeline? Anything we want to mention?
No, other than take advantage. We do have planning forms on our website. So when you hire us, take a look at those planning forms. It makes it a lot easier when we go to do the timeline, because we know all of the information that you're looking for. That includes our music library. So if you have the time, definitely come prepared, because it's very helpful for everybody. We're definitely going to throw out ideas and give you options if you're not sure. But it's always helpful to take a look at that.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that we do is the design session. So we create the timeline in our design session with you. So again, every event professional that you work with, we call it design session. It's our word. Actually, it belonged to somebody else, but we took it from her, she's retired now, so it's okay. But she came up with the word design session, and everybody just loves it. So that's what we call our final meetings with all our clients. Corporate, wedding, we call it a design session. So very, very important to have a design session. And nowadays, folks, you can have these design sessions on Zoom.
Yeah.
And actually, we prefer. And we actually have our own Zoom URL. So you can actually Zoom with sight and sound. And that is our URL. At any time you want to set up a Zoom appointment with us, we do it. So yeah, I think that's about it. So I think we hit everybody's questions. So again, we're going to be coming back with these spotlight shows every week. So every week we're going to go live. We're going to produce a spotlight show, and we're going to give you the ability, just like you saw Charles did, an ability to comment on what you see. Have questions, comments. That's what we're here to do. We're here to educate you. Whether you use us or use somebody else, that's
Right.
okay. We prefer that you use us.
Absolutely. But
And-
these are all useful things to know.
Absolutely. So you'll be seeing Heather, you'll be seeing me, sometimes you'll be seeing all the members of the team are going to be involved. And Amy is here. Cool. Amy, we're going to ask, Amy has a question in regards to, do you have an ideal timeline in the amount of hours? Is the ideal wedding 4, 5, or 6?
I would say about 4 is our average.
Yeah, 4 is our average. If I had to create the ideal timeline, I would go with a 5 to 6 hour timeline, especially if the event is happening where you're doing the ceremony. So hour number 1 is your ceremony. Even though it doesn't take an hour, hour number 1 is your ceremony, right? Hour number 2, cocktail hour. So there's 2. And then you've got 4 hours for dancing. That would be 6. So in an ideal situation, if you have a property that does the wedding ceremonies, then I would lean toward a 6 hour.
Right.
If you're just having a ceremony, reception in a hotel banquet room, then I would go with 4.
Yeah.
That would be my ideal 4 hours, because again, it's Vegas. People want to go out there. They want to celebrate. They want to party. You know, they don't want to be stuck in a ballroom for, so many hours.
Right. And in those 4 hours, especially depending on what you book with us or in your event in general, you could have a photo booth, you could have a caricature artist, you could have Elvis. So, for example, if you book Elvis, he's about 30 minutes. So he comes in, he sings, he does photos with everybody. So that takes up a little bit of a chunk of your dancing time, but it's still fun entertainment. So, the longer we can get in there, the better. But our average is about 4 hours.
Yeah, average definitely in Vegas.
Yes.
I know some of our friends that might be watching us from the East Coast. They do like 8-hour marathon weddings.
Right.
Like they're crazy. They do long events. But yeah, so we hope that we answered a few of your questions. Thank you so much for the people who participated in it. Again, watch the replay. We are going to re-air this, so it's going to be on. So tell a friend, tell everybody about our show. Thank you, Amy. We appreciate it. Amy again. Amy Vandermark.
And you're very welcome.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And look for us, because we're going to be back. We're going to be back each and every week producing helpful content for anybody planning any sort of event, whether
Right.
it be in Vegas or whether it be
A wedding or corporate or
Yeah.
a birthday party. We've done retirement parties. We've done all kinds of stuff. So.
And you could reach out to us. Why don't you tell them where they could find us?
You can find us at sightandsound.com, and you can also contact us by phone or text at 702-365-9526. And we are on Instagram and Facebook. So definitely check us out. Our social media gets updated pretty often, especially on Instagram. So definitely take a look.
Absolutely. And there's even a live chat feature on our website.
Yes.
So you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you back on the next episode of Spotlight. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.